Hey, welcome back. Another episode of This is the Future.
Unfortunately.
I'm no good. I'm no good. That's Alex Rios. I'm Tony G. Welcome. I got that part right. All right. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, man. We've said this before, and this is only the second or third time we've done it, but it's daylight out.
Yeah.
And it's weird to record in the daylight for a couple of reasons. One is you don't look like you're in hell right now. You know, you do. We're not drinking because it's it's not even noon here where I'm at, and
yeah, we got morals and stuff.
Yeah, very few, and they're very thin. They're very thin.
save the beer for later in the evening.
Yeah.
And hell has business hours, so that's what this is. We're not always dicks during the day. You know, we lighten it up. We just take care of business.
Yeah, hell's not always open.
Right. Exactly. This is like just visiting. You know, we're friendly. But yeah, dude. So I just saw you a few days ago. That was nice. I mean, kind of saw you. I saw your physical form.
You are lucky for seeing that. Let me tell you.
You look good, man. You look good.
No. No. So when we first logged on, before we started recording just now, I was looking not good.
Yeah, I said you look like a mix of the current Trent Reznor and Peter. I don't know how to say his last name, Dinklage or Drinklage. You guys can make fun of me.
It's Drinklage.
All right, Drinklage. Either way, that guy, yeah, he's awesome. And that's what Mr. Rios looked like without his hat on and his morning face and his 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I didn't get very much sleep last night, so it also, I got off work and I was listening to the band Body Count. You ever listen to Body Count? Ice-T's band?
No, I'm the one who performs in hell, and you're the one who listens to bands called Body Count. I just want to point that out.
Dude, so you've never listened to Body Count?
No.
Have you heard of him?
No.
Ice-T? You know Ice-T, right?
Yeah.
He has a band, and he's had a band for, I don't know, years, since the early 90s. And I mean, that's how he got well known, I assume. And yeah, his band's called Body Count.
No shit.
And let's just say they're anti-cop. Let's just say that. They're like, it's like a metal band from the fucking street. They're like,
Ice-T's in a metal band?
Yeah, man, he's in a metal. It's like metal rap. He raps kind of and screams, and I don't know. It's really fucking heavy. And I was in it, and I was driving home from work. I was just getting into it. I was like, man, this fucking shit rules. And like, I was like, fuck it. I'm like pumped. I'm gonna go to the store and get a 6-pack. So I got home, drank the beer, and I'm like, man, I'm not that tough. I can't finish the 6-pack.
I'm not that tough.
Like, have you ever just gotten so hyped about something? And then you're like, yeah. And then you're like, I'm not that cool. I can't do
it. Yeah, I do that. I do that with the gym. It never works out. You get pumped up at the gym. You're like, oh, I look good. And then you look over and there's somebody like just some nice lady over there lifting twice as much as I am. And I'm at my max. So I get killed like that. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going home early. Fuck this shit. I don't get bigger. I've been working out for 20 years. I just get veinier. You know, it's just like, oh, your body looks stressed. Like, thank you. I just went to the gym. That's it. That's the goal. So fucking sucks. So I do understand, like, yeah.
Getting pumped and then
going up and going right back down.
Yeah. But like you mentioned earlier, we did see each other for a little bit. You were in Oregon. You had a vacation, a trip.
I did, man. And what Oregon's good for, especially during the pandemic, is clearing your head because there's not a whole lot else to do out there. So right. I cleared that, and then I filled it full of smoke, and then I cleared it again,
again.
And then I filled it full of smoke again. I'm pretty sure I wasn't sober when I left Oregon. Just I think those drugs
You
are
weren't.
still in there.
I'll tell you this much: you weren't sober when you came into my work.
Who goes to a dining establishment that also offers individual pinball sober? I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I was around you. I was like, we're like talking and stuff, and then you left, and I went back in the kitchen. I'm like, man, I feel a little high.
Shut up.
No, I did. I said that. I'm like, man, I feel high.
So is that why people like being around me? I'm so doped up, they
man.
feel high too.
Yeah, you don't gotta go spend any money on a bag. You just gotta go hang out with Tony G. And
I am a bag.
you're a bag, all right.
I'm a bag. Don't get me. I'm a paper bag. Don't get me wet. I'll be useless.
One of my coworkers was like, your friend was like high, right? And I'm like, yeah, man. He was. He's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, man, I could tell that I liked him right away. he was like, as soon as he walked in, I was like, yeah, man. He's like, that guy's cool.
Well, here's the funny thing, man. Like I remember, this is how stoned I was. So I don't know how you guys do business where you're at, as far as like when people get tipped out, shit like that. I don't know how that works. But I was so high that I figured you guys had like a community tip jar.
Yeah.
And do you? Because I don't know. Because I was just like,
it's something like that. Everyone
all right,
gets
cool.
it.
Because I was just like, here's something for for everybody. Like everybody could put it into put it back into the produce. Like everybody hopefully this helps. And then I was like, well, shit, man. Like maybe it's just went to that guy, and now he thinks like, I didn't. I mean, that's fine.
Right.
I wasn't trying to kiss his ass or anything. I was just like, I kind of figured, here's $20 for the shirt, even though Alex is paying for it. It just kind of goes back into you guys. That's what I was. But I was so high. I'm like, huh. Well, whatever. I'm sure he likes $20.
Well, I mean, how it usually works in like normal and like in like restaurants and stuff is like, the front of the house, which he is bartender, food runner, like
right.
He gets a percentage that's a little bit more than the kitchen, and then we get a percentage. But at this place, we get more of a percentage than most places I've worked. So we do get a percentage of that. So yeah.
And then it would like that was my thought. I was like, I don't know his roommate, but his roommate's probably like, did your friend just hit on me and give me $20? Like,
let's just say,
how high is he? No, Tony was sober and meant what he did. Fuck with him.
Let's just say, Tony, he thought you were cute too.
Should let me take the mask off. That's right. He would have creamed his jeans.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, so it was good to see you, man. Cool little establishment you guys have there. There's a half a J and a tube in the parking lot for you if anybody finds it. It's like an Easter egg.
Yeah, I know. I looked for it actually, and it's a.
Is it there? There's a utility
no,
box.
It's not. There's street urchins that are.
Well, some street urchin scored.
Yeah.
So I mean, kinda like it's a joint. I smoked half of it. I wouldn't recommend anybody sucking on it. COVID, but whatever. I wasn't gonna take it with me.
Hey, if you're living on the street, I don't think that's the worries. It'd be the least of my worries. Let's just say that. I'd be like, I don't give a shit.
Free drugs and a free tube.
How
nice. Those tubes are it, man. Those are great. You could fit like 3 J's in there.
Dude, I know, and I know what you're talking. Like the ones that you squeeze and they go. When you were younger, like, did you ever have those mini M&Ms?
Yes, that's the ones that had it. Yeah.
Yeah, they come in a tube, and that's the same thing, and that's what I've always thought of.
More fun than the candies themselves.
Yeah, I sometimes when I get like a pre-rolled joint, I'll just stand there and I'll go pop.
Yep. It's like a Pez dispenser.
I'll just stand there just like for like a couple of minutes, just do it like 40 times.
Yeah, Yeah, so that's something else there is to do in Oregon. You can play with those little things. You can just do that for
Yeah.
hours.
Little poppers, little pops. So what
Yeah.
else did you get into in Oregon when you were here?
Went to a couple of hot springs. Went to one of my favorite hot springs, Cougar Hot Springs. That was interesting because I wasn't there for the fires, but boy, you could sure as hell see where where that was.
Mhm.
So it was a good time. I was amazed that they got that road open, but it's all just burned. Like there's
Burned,
a
yeah.
shitload of down trees. They were able to get the hot. I can't believe the hot springs open. I really can't. But with that being said, like Mother Nature does its thing. Now at that hot spring, there's twice as much light coming in. It's really fucking nice. Like hot springs always change, just like the earth, they evolve and all this shit. So right now it's really nice. You can only have 12 people in there at a time. So
Is
there's
there
people
someone?
like at
Is there someone
Cougar.
regulating it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep, they have a service out there. It charges $7 a person. They're only open when they say they're open. I mean, they've had security cameras out there for years, but they
Wow, because
monitor it pretty
the, la-
heavily.
the last time I was there, it was not monitored. It was free range. People were,
Not anymore.
yeah. It
I
used to
mean, there's
be,
people at the gate and they close the hot spring. If they catch your
yeah.
ass out there, you're fucked. The
Yeah,
sheriff comes out there a lot.
it's been over 10 years since I've been there, but yeah, like last time I was there, there was none of that. We went there at like 3 a.m. and left at 6 a.m. You know, it was
Yeah.
like drinking and fucking, fucking doing, hippie shit,
And that's exactly why people work there now and they close at night.
Sorry.
I was part of it too, man.
Everyone did that. You know
I
how
thought it
many
was
people?
fun.
Yeah, you know how many people that live in Oregon that have a story and been like, yeah, I was fucking somebody in the hot spring and some family walked by. I know so many people that have that story. Oh, hey, God, water's fine. You might want to get that pool though. Get them pulled down. But yeah, nice to see you. Hey, Timmy.
Yeah, it's about 105 in this one. Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. All right. Yeah, maybe 106.
Yeah, the temperature might, raise.
You don't want to be downstream for a few minutes. Just
just like the temperature, something else is raising. You know what I mean?
they used to,
Hey.
when you were there, they probably still had a cave, right? You could go into the cave.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
That fucking kit that mudslided. That's gone.
No,
And it's crazy to know that we used to hang out in there. People used to play didgeridoos in there and shit, man. Like,
yeah, you know, knowing that, that's like, yeah, it's a good thing I got fucking covered up by the earth. You know, the fucking earth was probably like, fucking shut up, hippies, get your fucking tubes out of here.
Wow.
Man,
I've never dealt
used
with a
to have-
didgeridoo till that day when I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like this big stick with hollowed out and guy takes it seriously.
I used to have a didgeridoo, man. I used to have one when I was a kid. When I was a kid, our family used to go to Eugene and we go to the Saturday market, probably so my dad could sell weed or whatever. But I remember being like 11 or something, and just being like, oh, what is that? It's cool,
Right.
These fucking hippies are, like baggy pants and stuff and playing fucking hacky sack and fucking playing a tube. And I was like, that's cool. So my parents bought me like a cheap one and I had it for a while and I used to just like blow on it. I don't know. It's stupid. But
I mean, if you're high as shit, a didgeridoo and a drum circle will really fucking set you up. It'll be great. And then you'll sober up, realize what happened to you, like wonder what happened to your outfit and get back to work.
see, that's the thing is like some things in life sound really cool. Like you gotta say, like, you gotta admit, a didgeridoo sounds cool. If you take away who plays the didgeridoo, you know what I mean? If you take that fucking dreadlocked fucking what's up, bro? That guy, if you take him out of it, the didgeridoo sounds cool. Just in its purest fucking you just fucking get rid of that dude.
So if you're saying like Bill Clinton was playing a didgeridoo instead of a saxophone, like it would have some class to it. Just some guy in it, some old guy in a fucking suit, just like soulfully, like moving his hips and shit.
That's funny. I would way rather have a hippie dude playing it, but yeah.
I just pictured Will Ferrell with a didgeridoo instead of the flute, you know?
See, I was too. I was doing that too, like kicking, like walking on tables, kicking drinks over and stuff, you know, like in a jazz club. Oh,
That really
fuck.
got me. You just hit someone with your didgeridoo because didgeridoos are really, they can be pretty long. Like they're a couple
Yeah,
feet. It's not a fucking 16-inch flute.
yeah,
Well, in any case, um, we actually have a legitimate topic today.
yeah,
So we're gonna dive into that now. Um, would you like to?
yeah. I'll just don't know how. I really don't know how to start other than just fucking blurting it out. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for before the before quarantine. Before quarantine, I was doing stand-up for 10 and a half years. And so I basically have decided not to go back to doing stand-up. And I've told you that, you know,
Right,
so I'm just
right,
just kind of
up to speed, right?
telling what's going on in my life. And you know, I'm not trying to make an announcement to our listeners and being like, I'm retired. And I just, it's one of these things where when you fall out of love with something or even somebody, it's it's better to not do it, because really what's happening and what is happening to me is I fell out of love of doing stand up. I don't have the passion for it like I used to.
Hmm.
And and when that happens, it's, you can hang on for a little bit, but all you're doing is it's really just torturing yourself, you know?
Right.
Because I knew I was done about 2018. So at that time, that's like 8.5 years or so. And I knew I was done, but my identity as a person was a stand-up comic. That's like who I was. You know what
Right.
I mean? And you could relate to that. Like that's who you are. Like when you do stand-up, you dive so deep in, and you have to. You have to commit 100%, and things in your life fall to the wayside. Like I've had like romantic relationships go sour because of I was so deep into it. I've missed funerals because
Right.
I had a show in fucking in the middle of Oregon somewhere that paid $15 and 2 drink tickets. But you know, that's what it was like, is doing stand up, is you have to be so deep into it. So with that being said, that's why it took me 2+ years to get out of it, even though I was done doing it. Like I felt it in my heart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's that feeling. It's that feeling that you're like, I know this is how I feel. But I was so deep in it, and it was such my identity that it was hard for me to leave, because I thought I'm not going to be happy without it. Like if I leave stand up, I'm not going to be happy. And I was like, I have a, you know, dating someone that's really cool. We have it's a really good relationship. We have a good life. But still with that, even I just was like, even having all that, quitting doing stand up, I'm not going to be happy. And then the quarantine happened. So it forced everyone to quit going out to bars and clubs and shit. So stand up kind of live stand up kind of died for a second, right?
Yep.
So I was forced not to do it. And then what that forced me to do is realize that I can be happy without it. So that's what happened. You know, kind of bittersweet, but it made me realize I don't have to pretend to like something that I don't anymore.
Right. And in that regard, does it feel like a weight is lifted?
It does. Yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like, you know, well, yeah, like my shoulders are lighter. I feel fucking a little like, I could breathe because I'm not putting all this pressure on myself. And a lot of it was like um worrying about what people were gonna say. People that were close to me, been like, "Oh, you're not doing stand up?" Like, what? Like that's a little bit of it because naturally, you know, that's what comedy is, right? You care what people think because
Yeah.
you're trying to get laughs. Being on stage, whether or not people want to admit this, there is a part where you're like me, like me. I'm on stage, like me. That's
Yeah.
that's that's what it is. No matter what kind of comic you are, you want them to like you, you kind of don't, but that's still part of it is just wanting people to laugh at you and have a good you're trying to entertain them, so you want them to like you. So that's how I felt off, just being like, like people are gonna like look down on me, think I'm giving up. But really, what this is me. So when you're on a certain path, I think, and however corny this fucking sounds, but you're on a certain path, people have a book, and sometimes it's longer than the others. My book is this long. I turn the page and it's done. My book is done. And it
Right.
ended up being 10 and a half years long. Some people have 30 year long books until they die. It just never, the book doesn't end. They end before the book does.
Right.
Mine lasted this long. The trail, it's time to get off the ride, and it's okay. And I'm not walking away from stand up because I think I failed or I'm mad. To me, it's bittersweet, but it's more of a sweet thing. It's just it's a good thing. It's like when two people are married and they both don't have the love for each other anymore, and so they decide to get a divorce. That's not
Right.
a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. People are
Right.
choosing to be happy, and that's what it is for me. I'm choosing to be happy. Comedy doesn't make me happy anymore. So,
Right. And I think it's important to impress here that I've also often heard people say that comedy's like bowling or like a hobby that people are into, go out 2, 3 nights a week, drink some beer. To be honest with you, it does look like that, but it's not. It's not like that. It actually takes up a lot of time. It takes up a lot of your headspace.
yeah.
It does fuck with your relationships, like personal, all relationships, because you say no a lot. You do say no for comedy, so people are like, oh well, they're doing something, so they're missing this because they're a comedian or whatever. But
Right.
it's fucking exhausting. It's two jobs, and most of the time it feels like you work your regular job and a second job, and most of the time you really don't get paid for it. You get maybe a percentage of what you're putting into it. It's exhausting. It really is. And to be amateur, like just an amateur, I mean, nothing against it, but trust me, that it's a long, long fucking
Yeah.
road. And at
It's
some
okay.
point, you have to ask yourself, am I going to have a life or am I going to do this? And you really, so I do understand. I just want people to understand it's not like Alex is saying, I'm not going to bowl anymore. He's
Yeah.
actually saying, I'm fucking one of my two fucking jobs. I'm going to just focus on one and live my life and see what happens next because comedy is
Right.
taxing as fuck. And you are
And
worried about what people think. It's
and
exhausting.
see and really, let's say comedy was my only job and I was paying my rent with it. It's even if I was making like Seinfeld money, Kevin Hart money, like it might be harder to walk away from it, but still, even if you're that up to the top, like that far up, if your heart's not in it, you're not in it. Like I could have been that far up and just been like, I don't love this anymore. This isn't me anymore.
Right.
I would still walk away from it because yeah, like you said, comedy's hard. It will break your fucking heart. That old lady from Bend, that's what she said that one time. Remember, you know what I'm talking about. It's an older person, like 10 years ago, she was probably 60 or 65. I don't know.
The one who came into town?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She lived
Ruth,
there.
Ruth
Yeah.
something.
Huh?
Ruth something.
I know her name. I won't say it. It's not
Oh,
Ruth.
someone I
But
know.
yeah, that we
Anyway, all
know
right, I'm with you. Go
that
ahead.
was in the scene, that was in the bin scene, and she
I
said,
know who you're talking about. I
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah, she said she gave all the younger comics advice. She said, "Don't worry. Someday, one way or another, comedy's going to break all of your hearts." And that is the true, the most, the advice with the most truth in it that I've heard um, regarding comedy. Now, with that being said, I still want everyone to know that this isn't me failing. I'm not. I'm not heartbroken. I have been with comedy. It's very hard, but this is a good thing. I'm just hanging them up, and I'll never say never. But for right now, finito. You know, and like I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not using the word quit because quit to me means fucking quit. I'm walking away. Like I said,
Right.
my book is this long, and others are longer, but I read the last page, and it's
Right.
done.
You really don't know what the fuck, you don't know what's down the road at all. And you don't know how much this could, you don't know. So it's fun. But I mean, at some point, I totally understand where you're coming from. Absolutely get it. I haven't been a fucking comedian in years, just based on family. Never said I stopped, but sure felt weird when people said I was a comedian and then they said, "Where are you performing?" And I'm like, I'm not a comedian. That
Yeah,
hurts more than anything because you feel like you were saying earlier, it hurts because it's tough when you have a shitty day job, but in your head you're like, I'm gonna be a comic, I'm gonna be something. You just have this little bit of hope stringing you through the shitty days, and that's probably the hardest thing is to be like, yeah, just But I mean,
yeah,
that wasn't, I know, like for me personally, it just went away. It wasn't something so I get it. Whatever it is, I think the hardest part is just finding something that makes you happy. If it's just simply your job and then your family, your
yeah.
life is making you happy, and what used to make you happy is wearing you the fuck out, get it, then you're doing it. Done. But with that being said, though, if it's cool with you, I'd like to take a few minutes and just kind of like, if you could just step us through some of your happier, like some of your fucking high points of comedy. Like you started out in San Fran, right?
Yeah. I started doing comedy in 2010, 2000, late 2009, something like
Right.
that. Around that time period, I don't know. But I moved to San Francisco with two friends. They were a couple, and no fault to them. They ended up kind of doing their own thing with
Hmm.
like 2 weeks of us moving there together. So I didn't have a job, and I ended up staying at their parents' house. I just met their parents and like their dad, and it was a weird situation. And like it's other the one of the people, he's one of my best friends in the world. So no, not a bad thing. It's all good. But anyway, I didn't know anyone in the city. I didn't have a job. I never been to San Francisco. It was just like all of a sudden I'm here, and the two people that I came with just kind of left me, and I'm living with this weird old dude that he's like 55 and he acts like he's in college. He throws kegers, he's drunk all the time. He goes surfing, he longboards, he fucking hooks up with like girls that were younger than me at the time. Like I'm just like, this guy's a fucking maniac. I don't know like I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like um you're frozen, but I'll just
Yeah,
pretend
and you're
you're not.
you're frozen too. We're gonna push through this shit as
Yeah.
best as we can. Hopefully, bear with us, folks. I still have good internet. I'm not sure what's going on today, but we're trying to we're out of time. We got to record this.
Yeah, exactly.
If it
um
looks like shit, then just listen to the audio. Okay.
yeah. Close your eyes. So anyway, I was living in San Francisco. You know, fucking, I was like 22 or 23 or something like that. Didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, just had like a backpack full of clothes and a skateboard. So all I would do is skateboard around town, buy a beer, go to the beach. And I did that for a long time until until I was starting to run out of money. So I was like, shit, I got to get a job. So I got a job at this restaurant. I was cooking, and I met this dude who, I don't know if he still does stand up. I did a show with him probably like 6 or 7 years ago. His name's Trevor Hill. Really funny dude. If he's still doing stand up, go see him. And yeah, he kind of got me into it. He took me to first open mic. Bombed my fucking dick off. It was bad. The two comics that I was with, him, one of them, and another like lady, a girl, she was like, whew. And I was like, yeah, that was bad, wasn't it? And I was like, let's do it again. so so I probably did like 10 to 12-ish open mics the year that I lived in San Francisco. So
Okay.
I didn't really do it a whole lot. I was just kind of like, thought it was fun. Never really had a good set though when I was first in I never had a good set until in San Francisco until I came back later and then performed in San Francisco like later on. And
I practiced.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I got a little better. I got better. No one remembers me. Okay, cool. So then I moved to Bend, and I was trying to find like comedy there. I was trying to find, didn't know if there was a scene, and then I found out there was. I saw a flyer, or someone told me about a scene. I think I saw a flyer, and then I met some comics and stuff, and then someone gave me your name.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember exactly what happened, but we ended up linking up. And before I even met you, we had a conversation on the phone for like an hour and a half.
It was awesome.
About comedy.
Yeah.
And then we met, and then we met. I opened for a friend's band, a punk band, at some fucking sausage restaurant.
Yeah, it's still there. It's a different name, but
it's still, oh yeah, and it probably didn't go good, but you know.
Was that the set where you got me on too? Because I was really bad as well.
Yeah. But also, you have to. Here's the thing about that show, and when you open for bands in particular, you don't have anyone to welcome you on stage. You don't have anyone to bring you up, like Tony G, Alex Reed, like no one. So you have to ask someone to do that. And they always look at you like, oh, fucking, you got a fucking ego on you, huh?
Like, ooh,
then,
the comedian.
Ooh, you want someone to say your name? Oh, what is this? A fucking quiet. And you're like, you have to explain to them, like, no, you're coming in cold. Like, think about if you didn't invite someone over and they just walked into your house through your door, you'd be like, well, what the fuck are you doing? It's like that. People have to know what's going on. You don't just shove a beer into someone's hand and make them drink it. You had to be like, hey, you want a beer? Like, you know, you have to ease them into it. You got to put some lube on it, you know, and that's what that is.
And even if the lineup reads this band, that band, a comedian, and their name, no one's going to read it. So it doesn't matter. They still have no idea why some dickhead's walking up on stage with a piece of paper, a glass of water, and nothing else. And he's trying to talk when you're waiting for a band to start so you can talk really loud over the band. So yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. And so that in particular, I remember I couldn't get anyone, even the band that my friend's band I was opening with, no one would bring us up. They were like, nah. So I was just like, all right. So I don't remember the order or what happened, but I remember just going up there cold with a bunch of sweaty punks that are like fucking rowdy and bunch of shitheads. I'm like, I don't remember how it went, but I do want to say that I think it didn't go good. We'll just round up and say it probably wasn't good. But that I do, you're definitely my first comedy friend. So
Right.
that's why this is good that I'm kind of going out the same way, I went in is with you,
Right.
like, so that's really cool. And man, we've had some fucking experiences with involving comedy and shit. We used to drive, and we've talked about this. We don't need to go detail with this story, but we definitely have driven from Bend to Seattle completely high as fucking eagle tits just to go do open mics in Seattle.
Right.
Sleep in the back of my old SUV on a twin blow up mattress, just cuddling like two grown
Truck
men.
stops and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're really not supposed to be stoned off your ass at a truck stop and vulnerable. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but it's not good. It's you feel weird.
So past that, like, I mean, then you and I. So I just want to say this real quick. The reason people get into comedy is they do want to be, something. They want to be appreciated by people, but that it's that lottery ticket of making it big, being famous, not having to work anymore, people laughing at your shit. That's why you drive 6 hours. That's why you sleep on a shitty mattress with your friend. That's why you
Yeah.
hang out in truck stops. All of this. That's why this isn't bowling. This isn't roller skating. This is kind of a career move, but it's all about timing. And then most of us just end up having fun stories and talk about how we, you know. So it doesn't, but the point is like the crazy shit you do to get stage time, because it's not easy. So we did that boot camp part of it together.
Yeah.
Like we did the moves, we built a scene in a small town. We did all that groundwork to get, and our dream, we had the same dream. So we were connected. We moved in together. We fucking, here we go. We're going to get this done. And we did. We at least got ourselves up to Portland. And like I was there for a few months, and then I had to take a detour way before Alex did for family. That's the shit happens. So life happens. You can't go out every night and chase down a dream. Life keeps happening to some of us. So then after that, like once I was out of the picture, like you kept going. So
yeah, I mean, like it's been a long road,
right. But I mean, like, what are some more highlights that happened to you? Because after that, like, in my eyes, I sat down and was raising a pain in the ass preteen, and you're going on stage and still going. And for me, it's like I'm living vicariously through you at that point because I'm depressed as shit. Just that's how it goes. And so it's like you're going. You've opened for people. You did the thing. And to me, like, my hat's off to you. As this may not mean much to you, but still kind of brings tears to my eyes. Like, I'm wearing the shirt, man. Like, you're one of my fucking favorite comedians. You know what I mean? Like, I put my kid in the car. We drove up to Jersey on a fucking Wednesday or some shit. He's opening for a band. They're touring across the country, and to me, that's huge. I don't give a shit if you become famous. I care that you're following your fucking dream and that I can support that, whatever that is. Yeah. So showed up, fucking, got to see a little bit of, I mean, it was something. It was like, I'm going to see my fucking friend. Like, we lived in an apartment together. Now he's on the tour and he's got fucking t-shirts, and it wasn't lightly. Like, you really put in the fucking work. You put in 10 and a half hard years of work. I put in like 2. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so what other high points do you have, man? Like, anything?
Well, I mean, that you bring that up, like going on tour is a high point. Like that band, I grew up with the members, with most of the people in that band, and some of the other people that I didn't grow up with that are in that band I've known for over 10 years. So everyone that in there, they're all family. They're all best friend, brother kind of type of people to me. So going on tour, I always look, they were a band for a long time. And I always looked up to them because I think I was younger than all of them, but but I mean not by much, but I was younger than all of them, and I um looked up to them. I was like, man, they're in this fucking cool punk band. I want to do that, but I don't know how to play instruments. I'm fucking tone deaf and stupid. So I was like, man, that's cool. And then I started doing comedy, and I was like, the first goal that I ever wrote down for comedy was to open for them. That was like, and how fucking small and stupid that sounds, but I wanted to open for them, really open for them, not open for them at like a fucking sausage restaurant. And like, I really wanted it to be like a real show, like name on the flyer, them, Alex Rios, comedian, like I wanted it to be like a real thing, and I wanted them to want me. I didn't want them to just go, yeah, you could open because we know you. You know,
you wanted to earn it.
Yeah. So it took about 7-8 years for me to actually get to that point where I felt comfortable, they felt comfortable of me actually go opening for them and it being worth it on both sides, because they didn't want to take a fucking chump, you know, on the road.
No,
and I didn't want to be that chump. So it finally got to a point where I asked them, I was like, hey, I feel weird about asking this, but this has been a goal of mine for a long time, and I know I'm capable of doing it now. Can I come on the road and open for you guys? So I did. I got paid like a real opener, like I got paid. I was on the bill, even though people didn't know it. So half the time I was on the bill. You know, it was real, and that's a major highlight for me for sure. Like a major highlight is opening for them. That was like, keep on repeating myself, but that was a number one goal for sure.
And you did it.
And yeah.
Got it done. And it, like I said, it was awesome to come. Like, it sounds weird. I don't have any friends that are on bills or anything. So, like, to drive out there and see your ass, it meant a lot. To believe it or not, it meant a lot to me too, because it was like, this is fucking awesome. You know,
Yeah,
putting my kid in the car is like, you know him, get in the fucking car. Here we go. Like, I can't explain it to people. It's not like we're not rock stars. It's that probably, that's not going to happen. But even just have a little taste of what that life is like, and to know how much work you have to put into it to get that, like,
right.
That's something that you take with you down the fucking road. Like that's a resume builder. I put 10 years of my life into something that I didn't have to. I committed to something hard, and I went way the fuck out, way just to get it, so you prove that shit to yourself. Like, whatever it is I love, I want to get done, I can accomplish. So
Sure.
Beyond that, I mean,
yeah, man. I mean, it's when I stop and think about it, and before we start recording, like, it's like there's so many things that have happened in the last 10 years.
Right.
And sorry, dogs are going fucking nuts.
Yeah, you got more than one right now, huh?
Yeah, there's 3 of them out there. Well, 2.5. One's like this big.
Doggy daycare.
But yeah, there was so many things that happened. There's one that sticks in my head for whatever reason, and this isn't like a goal or a good thing. This is kind of like a health gig situation. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, I was in McMinnville, this place called the Mac Club, like fucking Mackin, you know what I mean? Got the fucking Mac Club, and I have performed there. This is probably this story is the first time, but I have performed there probably the least 10 times total. I was welcomed back there a lot. The guy that ran the show, this cool guy, he brought me over there a lot. And first time this wasn't his room, by the way. This was some other person's shitty gig, and so it wasn't the same shows, just in the same venue. So okay, big open bar, people playing fucking video lottery, pool, fucking hillbillies drinking, small town, middle of Oregon, bunch of people. that wouldn't welcome a person with the last name Rios. Let's just say. And so, there's a bunch of fucking shit kickers there. This is how white the room was. I was the most ethnic person there. This white face was the most ethnic person in that room. And that's how that's how you could start this off with it's a very white venue. White gathering of whiteness. And so I went on stage, and I used to have some jokes about my last name and about my dad and stuff like that. And I mentioned, I'm part Mexican, Bob, and then went into the joke. And as soon as I said I'm part Mexican, this fucking front row, this fucking like 50-year-old dude that looks like he's still living at his mom's house. And I know that because his mom was with him and she said it. And fucking crusty, like camouflage hat, fucking, looked like this basically. And and then I said, I brought up like I'm part Mexican, but I don't look it, whatever. And he stood up and goes, "Build the wall." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Build the fucking wall." And he's grabbing the table with his arms, and he's so drunk he's trying not to fall over. And he's saying, "Build the fucking wall." And it was ironic. There was nachos on the table. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And he's grabbing the table and he's moving the table and it's tipping, and these nachos are like, he's like, "Oh," and he kind of pushes the table over and the nachos fly. And I'm on stage. I'm on fucking stage. And I'm like, and I'm just like 5 feet from the guy holding a microphone, like, and I just go, "No." And I put my hand out and he's walking towards me. "Build a wall." And I go, "No." I just say no and put my hand out, and he hits my hand with his head like this. And he just goes, and then he falls over onto another table. More nachos go flying. People help him up. He gets kicked out. And then I'm like, well, good, cool. I still got 20 minutes left. All right.
That's my opener.
You got to do your time.
Anybody else? Anybody want to come up here?
Yeah, so that's something, even though that's not like that's just a part of comedy that you have to deal with. And that's just the story that sticks out in my head,
Right.
like
that's great. That's really
things
funny.
that stick out and like highlights are like, and then this is another thing that's not like, but this is just like makes me happy because it's something you and I have done together. We did together, and it's like where we started,
Mm-hmm.
back when you and I would go to a 7 nightclub in Bend, and it was before we built a little audience. It was just you and I and the bartender. And I remember one time it was you and I was on stage, you were watching me, the bartender was watching for a little bit, 30 seconds in, she walked away. And all I remember is like you just like watching me, and I'm like, "Man, this is comedy? This is what we do?" Like I'm like, "The fuck?" And I remember you just sitting at the table and I tell some shitty joke. You're like, all right. You can work on that one. And all right. And you kind of wrote something down. You're like, all right. And then like, it was like you were like grading me or something.
It's like an interview.
Like, yeah.
Tell me your act.
And then I told another joke, and you're like, all right. Okay. That was good. That was a good one. You wrote something else down. And I think you were trying to give, pointers and help and everything. And then I just remember like this. I was like, I'm being like graded right now. What is this? So yeah, that's another thing that that sticks out, man. But like, man, there's I mean, like, I got to open for a few different cool people, like I had a goal when I first started open for someone that I saw on TV before I started. That was just like a weird goal that I had, and I did that a couple of times. Um, and so yeah, I did. I had a list of goals. I wrote them down, and I remember all of them, and I got to accomplish almost all of them, not all of them, but one of the goals wasn't to walk away from after 10 years, but so but I did accomplish a lot for me, for my personal self. I accomplished a lot. And I feel really happy about it. I feel good about it. There's no resentment for it. I don't feel I'm okay with talking about it, like I'm okay with being like I used to be a comedian. That's okay with me.
Right.
I like you know what, what's a cool thing is I like watching comedy more now.
Probably less stressful.
Yeah, I like and not live because I haven't seen a live show yet, or haven't in a while, but I like watching comedy, specials more now. Because when I was doing stand up, I I didn't really like to watch a lot of comedy.
Yeah, because you end up seeing, well, I ended up seeing ideas that I was working on, or made me realize how bad I was. I was like, all right, fuck this.
Well, I just always was like watching it and just being like, why am I watching this? I should be out there doing it. And then, but now I watch it and I'm like, I could appreciate it more. I find myself liking it more.
Well, and you know the ins and the outs. Like that's what's like, you know what it's like to be up there. So you can, and you're not doing it currently. So you can just be like, I totally get it. You got to appreciate it a little bit more because you did all that work too. You know what it took for that special to happen. It's not off the cuff. That's work that they put into it. And in all fairness, the next step for people like you, like comics, and this is a big fucking step, is to move. Like you're 10 years in, you're in Portland, you're at a scene where you could, some people do it the rest of their lives in a place like Portland, but at the end of the day, most people leave. And
Mhm.
that's not, I don't think that's something you're gonna do. Like, I mean, if you really were gonna go for it, it's New York or LA. I mean, at that
Yeah,
point.
I was going to move. I wanted to move like a year after being here. I've been wanting to. I
Yeah.
was wanting to leave for like 7, 8 years, and family things kept up happening. Things kept on there,
Yep.
and it just, I realized that just I wasn't meant to move. After so many things happening, excuses or actual things or whatever they are. After a while, you're like, well, there keeps on being fucking signs of being like, don't leave. So
Right. Yeah.
maybe
If
I
it doesn't
don't.
happen, it doesn't happen. It's a,
Yeah. Um. Overall, man, like stand-up's been really good, and it's helped me meet a lot of people that I love, that I really like, that I call friends and family now. A lot of people that I fucking hate, I wish I never met. But
not
and
it.
we're almost, we're wrapping up, I think,
Sure.
but like, not to be too cheesy, man, but like, like I'm really glad that we met, and I'm glad that you know it took comedy for us to meet. If I only had like, if I did hate comedy and I only had the only thing that I took away from it was the people that I got to meet. I'm glad that you were one of them, and you were my first comedy friend, and we're still great friends. So I'm really
Right.
happy that we became friends, and I'm super thankful that we could go through it together.
And the hell yeah, right, honestly, right back at you, not to be cheesy. I'm not good at any of that shit. Like I'm an asshole when it comes to showing any of that. But that's what comedy does. Alex, Alex did it a hell of a lot longer than I got to do it. I'm not saying I'm not whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but we're having fun doing this, and that's all I care about right now. Whatever the hell's in the future, we'll find out. But comedy doesn't just it's not for nothing. You make friends. I still associate with a lot of those people. Some of my favorite people to talk to. I want to share a quick story that's actually a little it's a comedy. Anyway, long story short, one of my favorite moments in comedy, and I mean this from the bottom of my fucking heart, probably my number one moment in stand-up, which I don't think I've ever told anybody before. Um, we were at you and I were doing a show. This is probably another year or 2 years. People started coming to our shows, long story short. So we had some people in the audience, and I was up and you were in the audience. And my comedy has always been hit and miss. When I'm on, I can say anything and it just works. And then when I'm otherwise, it's garbage, and it's usually garbage. This happened to be one of those moments where I was hitting it. I don't know what the hell was going on, but I was hitting it. And Alex was sitting over there on a stool. There's other people, and I just looked at him and he was physically everything laughing his fucking ass off at what I was saying, at what I was doing. I remember like something about jerking off. I remember that, but Alex was like on the stool, like doing this, and it just like he was hysterical. And that was my biggest fucking reward ever, because that's my friend who we've been through hell with. And if anyone's going to be real, like they're going to be, he's not going to bullshit me that if it's funny or not. And like, I
Right.
still have that image in my head. So obviously it's not going to go away. So that shit, like, even if I only did it for, even if that was the only thing that ever happened to me, like that, it's those little things that keep you going for forever. If I never picked up a mic, I would never be able to say, I made one of my friends who I didn't even know before comedy, made a comedy friend, live roommates and everything, and he was fucking dying. Something that I was doing, it got his ass really good. That means the world to me, because whether I'm gonna have a mic in my hand, whether you have a mic in your hand, you're still funny. You can't get rid of that. You're still fucking funny. You can walk into a group of people and you can get them, and you know you can because you know how to do it. So that's a trade that you have, that I have. Whether we pick up a mic or not, you'll always be funny. And that's something that people are always going to say about you. They may not say he's a comedian, but they're going to say that guy's fucking funny. And that's always going to feel good to hear. So in any case, you're fucking funny. And that ain't going away, brother. So hats off to you, man. Honestly, I don't know you. I have no idea if you're going to do it again. You don't either, but I respect the hell out of you for it. And I totally get where you're coming from. And I hope that you and your lady, and just, I hope you guys have fucking fun and enjoy yourselves, and whatever you get into, I'm around. And with that being said, we are going to shut this down. We're not going to dig into the music this time. We really just wanted to kind of talk about this topic. But I do want to just want to address, as far as where we're at, we're not stopping this show.
Yeah.
At least
Going
not on
down.
this episode.
Yeah, right.
So we're not done. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that Alex isn't done with all of his projects. He has stopped some of them, but we are going to keep doing this. I've gotten some encouragement from some of you guys who watch the show, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
We are going to
Thank
let this fucker evolve. With that being said, Alex, is there anything else you would like to say, man, before we shut her down?
No, man, I think that's yeah, like Tony said, we're gonna dig into the band Carl Sagan's skate shoes next week. So we're postponing that, but just listen to the record again.
Right. Yeah.
And,
In any case, yeah, Carl Sagan skate shoes. We're talking about that next week, and then we'll have a whole bunch of new stuff to talk about with the show as well. Of course. With that being said, you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, follow, worship, all that good shit. Please. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
bye.